So welcome to the next series of talks. These are a series of rapid-fire talks called Catalyst Talks. And as a biologist, I can't help but think that typically when you think of a catalyst, you think of something that accelerates change. But in a way, catalyst is not perhaps the perfect term to use, because in chemistry, a catalyst is something that accelerates change, but it's something that would have happened anyway, but perhaps a bit more slowly. The individuals we are about to hear from are not individuals that have accelerated things that would have happened anyway. They are individuals that have in fact been generative and have been at the genesis of new ideas. These are ideas that will have broad impacts on education, K through 12, and higher education as well. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce the first of our Catalyst Talks, Jean Desravines. He is the CEO of New Leaders, a nonprofit dedicated to recruiting and developing leaders to turn around low-performing public schools. He has many years of professional leadership experience, including roles as a senior counselor to the Chancellor of New York City's public school system and executive director for the Office of Parent and Community Engagement at the New York City Department of Education. Please join me in welcoming Jean Desravines.
Rob, good afternoon. I'll try it again. Good afternoon. Great. Mother Teresa once said, "I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples." The ability to amplify your voice, to help others change an enterprise or change the world is the essence of leadership. In every industry, the greatest differentiator between transformative results and average results is often the quality of the leader. I'll submit in public education, there's no difference. Where you see great variation, oftentimes is because of great variation in school leadership. And what are the implications of these great variations? Let me tell you. It means that as a country, we are falling further and further behind. American 15-year-olds fail to crack the global top 20 in math, reading, and science. It means that a student in Shanghai is 2 years ahead in math than a student right here in Massachusetts, one of our highest performing states. It means that at an academy in Newark, New Jersey, North Star, 100% of the kids who graduate gets accepted into at least one four-year college. And yet, half a mile away, at Barringer High School, less than 50% of kids graduate. And we know the social and economic consequence of having kids not even graduate from high school. And yet, after decades and decades of trying to close the shameful achievement gap, spending billions and billions of dollars, one of the solutions have been right before our eyes. But sometimes, to see the obvious, we need a little imagination. So I ask you to close your eyes for 1 minute. Only 1 minute, because I don't want you to go to sleep. Close your eyes and imagine. Imagine if every kid in every school, there was a set of high expectations. Imagine if there was a culture in every school that expected that every kid would go to college, expected that every kid would have a successful career, and expected that every kid would be a great citizen. Imagine if in every classroom you had a great teacher. Imagine if teachers felt excited and inspired to carry out this vision. Sounds like a great world, right? It's not a fantasy. There are schools across this country where it's happening. Allow me to take you inside of one of these schools. Expeditionary Learning is a school in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, predominantly low-income immigrant school. Over 25 different languages are spoken at Expeditionary. 3 years ago, less than 10% of the kids graduated at Expeditionary. It was a school without a vision. It was a school in chaos. David O'Hare became principal, and within 1 year, he set a vision of excellence, a vision of high expectations. He hired and supported every one of his teachers. Now, Expeditionary has a graduation rate of 85%. Every single one of the graduates goes on to college. And yet, David is not satisfied. Allow me to introduce you to David.
We've made so many different strides. So 85% of our students graduated this past year, but 15% did not in the 4 years. And although this graduation rate is 30 to 40 percentage points above the rest of the city, there's still 15% of our population that didn't make it. And so that's what drives me each and every day, is to strive for that 100%.
David O'Hare is just one principal. At New Leaders, we have identified and developed over 1,600 David O'Hares, leaders who are creating a culture of high expectations, setting a vision, and ensuring that teachers feel supported in their classrooms. But allow me to give you a sense of the magnitude of the problem. There are over 100,000 public schools in this country, over 200,000 principals and assistant principals, over 3.3 million teachers. To pick up on the theme, the sports analogy theme, there are enough teachers to fill Fenway Park 88 times. That's an entire season and 2 playoffs. To be effective, we need scalable solutions. That is the challenge that we're taking on at New Leaders. We're now using technology to try to replicate the David O'Hares by providing support and training to sit-in principals and their leadership teams. Allow me to conclude by asking you to imagine one final time with me. Imagine a young black boy, the 10th child in his family. Parents who are Haitian immigrants who moved to Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, a low-income community. Unlike his 2 best friends, whose lives were lost, or who's lived behind bars, he becomes a CEO and is able to go throughout the country to speak to leaders, including those of you who are here in the room today. That's no fantasy. It's a reality. I am that child. My principal, Dr. Lorenzetti, changed my life. He had an unwavering belief in what I could accomplish. And he created a school of high expectation for each and every one of his kids. At my organization, New Leaders, we are working relentlessly to ensure that every single school has a Dr. Lorenzetti and a David O'Hare. Leadership can transform everything, and we owe it to our kids and to their futures to ensure that there's a great principal in each and every one of our schools. Thank you.